Hey, what's going on guys? Ramesh here. Welcome to Java LinkedList tutorial with coding examples. In this video we'll learn everything about linked list class in Java. So let's take a look into what we will learn in this tutorial. So we will learn key points about linked list class in Java, and we will see the key differences between ArrayList and linked list. And then we'll deep dive into the linked list class examples, like we first create linked list and add a new elements to it. And then we'll see how to access or retrieve elements from the linked list, and then we'll also see how to remove elements from the linked list, and we'll also look into how to iterate over a linked list by line coding example in Eclipse IDE, and we'll see how to search elements in linked list. So we'll learn a lot about linked list class with line coding in Eclipse IDE. Alright, let's begin with the key important points about linked list class and the key differences between ArrayList and linked list, and then a bit later we'll deep dive into the examples. Alright guys, let's get started. In collections hierarchy, linked list class implements list interface as well as Deque interface. Linked list internally uses doubly-linked data structure to store data elements. So doubly-linked list is a data structure. It holds a collection of nodes. For example, let's say this is the node, okay, and each node in a doubly-linked list is divided into three parts, and this part contains the pointer to the previous node, and this part contains a pointer to the next node, and this middle part contains data. Okay, so double linked list is basically a collection of nodes, and each node consists of these three parts. Linked list internally uses doubly linked list to store the data elements. Okay, great. Like ArrayList, linked list also contains duplicate elements, and linked list class maintains insertion order. It means linked list class also preserve insertion order, and linked list class implements queue and deque interfaces. Therefore it can also be used as queue, deque, or stack. And linked list class is not a thread set. It means that whenever you want to use linked list in multi-threaded environment, then you should have to explicitly synchronize linked list class. Okay, and we have collections utility class in collections framework. So collections utility class provides static methods to synchronize collection classes. For example, collections utility class provides synchronized list method, so which we can use to synchronize a linked list class. Okay, so this we will see in example section. All right, great. So now we know that linked list and ArrayList, both classes implements list interface. Okay, and there are a few key differences between them. So let's quickly understand the difference between ArrayList and linked list. Okay, so ArrayList internally uses arrays to store the data. It means that ArrayList is an index-based data structure backed by array. Okay, on the other hand, linked list internally uses doubly linked list to store the data elements. So this is the first difference. The second difference is that insertion, addition, or removal operations are faster in linked list, because in linked list there is no shifting of shifting required, because in case of ArrayList, if we remove any element in the middle, or if we add any new element in the middle of the array list, then there are a lot of shifting required, because array list is backed by array. It means array list internally uses indexes to represent elements. For example, so look at here, this is the array list, starts with index 0. Let's say we have 10 elements within array list. If we remove any element at the middle of the array list, then there are a lot of shifting required. Okay, sometime if we add a new element to the array list, then array list internally creates one more array to store all the data from the original array into the new array. So this is how the array list resize its structure internally. Okay, got it. So whenever you have insertion and removal operation at the middle of the list, then linked list is the best choice and it's faster. Okay, great. And the third difference is linked list consumes more memory than array list, because linked list internally uses doubly linked list, right? And doubly linked list is basically contains a collection of node, and each node consists of 3 parts. So look at here, this is the node and it consists of 3 parts. So this part, middle part, contain data, and this part contain next pointer to the next node, and this contains pointer to the previous node, and some amount of memory is required to store these references also. Okay, and hence linked list consumes more memory than array list. So look at here, array list basically requires memory to store element and its index, and in case of linked list it takes a little bit more memory to store pointers, that is next and previous pointers apart from data. All right, so this proves that linked list consumes a little bit more memory than array list. All right, so these are the few key differences. Let me recap the differences. In case of structure, ArrayList internally uses array to store the data elements. It means ArrayList is index based data structure backed by an array, and linked list internally uses doubly linked list to store the data elements. Okay, this is how the structure implemented inside ArrayList and linked list. And in case of performance, whenever you have operations like insertion and deletion at the middle of the collection, then linked list is much more faster than array list. Okay, and in case of memory usage, linked list consumes more memory than array list, because linked list internally uses doubly linked list, and doubly linked list is a collection of nodes, and each node consists of 3 parts, so each part takes some amount of memory. That's why linked list consumes more memory than array list. Alright guys, this is a quick overview of linked list class and the key differences between array list and linked list. So I'm in Eclipse IDE. We have Java collections framework project in Eclipse IDE. Let's go ahead and let's create a new package. So we're going to create lots of examples on linked list. So let's go ahead and let's create a separate package for it. Let's say the package name is linked list. Hit finish. Now let's go ahead and let's quickly create a class. Let's give name to the class like create linked list example, something like this, and choose public static void main method and hit finish. Great. Now I'm going to demonstrate few methods of linked list class, like add method to add a new element to the linked list, and we have one more overloaded add method to add a new element to specific position. So it takes this location. For example, let's say we want to add element at location 2 and then element name. Okay, and one more method is add post and add lost. So look at here, the important point is add post and add lost. So these are the methods which comes from Deque interface. So as I mentioned in previous video, linked list implements list interface as well as Deque interface, and add post and add lost methods comes from Deque interface. Okay, great. Let me quickly create a linked list instance. Let's say linked list and just pass string as a type, and let's give reference variable name as fruits and new and then linked list. Now let's go ahead and let's quickly add some fruits to the list. Fruits and then use add method. So look at here, there are overloaded add methods. I'm going to use first one, and let's quickly add a element, that is banana, and let's quickly add a few more elements to the linked list. Let's say apple and mango. Okay, now what I will do, I will simply print this list to the console. Let's run the program and let's see the output. Yeah, here we go. We have 3 elements in the linked list. Now let's see how to add an element at a specific position in linked list. Fruits and then call add method. So look at here, we are going to use second add method, and we're going to pass index. So we are going to add a new element at index 2. Let's give element name like watermelon. Let's go ahead and let's print this list to the console. System.out.println, and let's say after adding watermelon, how the list looks like. Fruits, and let's go ahead and let's run the program. Yeah, here we go. So look at here, the watermelon element is added to the linked list at position 2. Now let's see how to add element at the beginning of the linked list. Okay, adding element at the beginning of the linked list. Let's call our fruits list and then call add post method. Okay, so look at here, add post method, it inserts the specified element at the beginning of the list. Okay, let's go ahead and let's call this method, and look at here, add post method is in Deque interface, not in a list interface. Okay, great. Just give an element name as strawberry, and let's go ahead and let's print the list. Let's say after adding strawberry, how our list looks like. Let's go ahead and let's run the program. Yeah, here we go. Strawberry is added at the beginning of the linked list. Okay, great. So this is how we add element at the beginning of the linked list using add post method. Now let's see how to add element at the end of the linked list. Adding element at the end of the linked list. Let's call fruits and then call add last method. So look at here, add last method is present in Deque interface. Alright guys, let's go ahead and let's add an element at the end of the linked list. Let's say orange, and let's go ahead and let's print the list. System.out.println, after adding orange, let's run the program and let's see how the output looks like. Yeah, here we go, orange is added at the end of the list. Alright, great. Alright guys, this is an example to demonstrate the usage of add first, add last methods. Okay, I hope you understood how to create a linked list and how to add elements to the linked list. Now let's go ahead and let's create a class, and let's give a class name as retrieve linked list elements example, and choose public static void main method and hit finish. Now let's see the different ways to retrieve elements from the linked list. we're gonna see how to get a first element in a linked list, how to get a last element in a linked list, and how to get an element at a given index in a linked list, and how to get all the elements from the linked list. Okay, so these are the examples that we are going to look into in this video. Let's first create a linked list object. Let's call the reference variable as fruits, and then again linked list. Let me quickly add few elements to the fruits list. We have created a linked list instance and we have added few elements to the linked list. Now let's go ahead and let's see how to get first element in a linked list. So linked list provides get first method to get a first element in a linked list. So let me quickly write the comment here, getting first element in a linked list using get first method. Let's create a string variable, let's say first element, and then fruits object, and then call get first method. So look at here, get first method is present in Deque interface. Okay, and this method returns first element in the list. Okay, so if you want to know more about methods, you can just mouse over it and you can read the Java doc like this. Okay, great. And I'm going to just print the element to the console, first element, something like that, and let's say first element. If you run the program, you would be able to see banana is printed to the console here. This banana is the first element in the linked list, right? Alright guys, let's see how to get a last element in a linked list using get last method. Let me quickly write the comment, getting last element in a linked list using get last method. Let's create a string variable and let's say last element and fruits object, and then call get last method. So if you mouse over on the get last method, so look at here, get last method is also present in Deque interface, and this method returns a last element in the list. Okay guys, great. Now let me go ahead and let me print this element to the console. So this is gonna last element. Let me change the string last element. Let me run the program and we would be able to see the pineapple is printed on a console. So look at here, fruits list, and pineapple is at a last position, so pineapple is printed in a console. Okay, great. Now let's quickly see how to get an element at a specific position in the linked list. Let me write the comment, getting an element at a given position in the linked list. So linked list class implements list interface, and list interface provides a get method, right? So we can use a get method to get an element at a given position. For example, create a string variable like string and then element equals to, and then object, fruits object, and then call get method. So look at here, get method is present in list interface and it returns an element at a specified position in the list. Okay guys, call the get method and pass the index. So I am going to retrieve apple, so let's pass 1 and let's print element to the console. Let me run the program. Yeah, here we go, apple is printed in a console. Now let's see how to retrieve all the elements from the linked list. So there are many ways to loop over a linked list and or iterate over a linked list. Okay, so we can use either iterator, for each loop, a lambda expression, or there are many options to retrieve elements from the linked list. Alright guys, so I'm going to use a simple for each method to iterate over a list, and I'm going to just print the element. Okay, element, and let me rename this. Alright, so element is duplicate elements, right? So let me rename this. Let's say element 1, or let's call it as fruits. Fruit, this is singular, let's call it as a fruit. And let me run the program, and you can able to see all the fruits are printed in a console. Alright, so this is the example to demonstrate how to get a first element in a linked list, how to get a last element in a linked list, and how to get element at a given index in the linked list, and how to get all the elements from the linked list. So you can use a for each loop or iterator to retrieve elements from the linked list. Let's go ahead and let's create a new class, and let's give class name as remove elements from linked list example, something like that, and choose public static void main and hit finish. Yeah, here we go. Now let me quickly write the comments what examples I am going to demonstrate. So we'll see how to remove first element in a linked list, how to remove last element in a linked list, and how to remove the first occurrence of a given element in the linked list, and how to clear the linked list completely. For that, let's go ahead and let's call linked list and pass string as type, and this is boot list, and then call new linked list. Okay, great. Now let me quickly add few fruits to the fruits list. So look at here, I have added apple, banana, mango, pineapple fruits to the fruit list, and I have printed fruit list to the console. Let me run the program, and you will be able to see all the elements are printed to the console. Now let's see how to remove first element in the linked list. Let me quickly write the comment here. Remove first element in a linked list. So let's go ahead and let's create a string variable, and let's call it as element, and then this is fruit list, and then call remove first. So look at here, remove first method is present in Deque interface, and this method removes and returns the first element from the current list. Okay, now I am going to print the list. So after removing first element, let's see how our list looks like. Okay, let's go and let's run the program, and here you can able to see after removing first element you can able to see only banana, mango, pineapple. Okay, great. Now let's see how to remove the last element in a linked list. Let me write the comment, remove last element in a linked list, and let's go ahead and let's call the method remove last method. Okay, so this method removes and returns the last element from this list, and this method again present in a Deque interface. Okay guys, and let me print the list after removing the last element. After removing last element, we can able to see banana and mango in the console. Okay, apple and pineapple, these two elements are removed from the fruit list using remove first and remove last methods. Okay guys, now we're going to use a remove method to remove first occurrence of a given element in a linked list. Let's go ahead and let's call fruit list object. Let's call remove method remove and just pass the index. So here you can see we have two overloaded methods. So first method is present in a list and second method is also present in a list. So first method you can use to pass the index, second method you can use to directly pass element name. So I'm going to use second one and I'm going to pass the name of the element like banana. So I'm going to remove banana element from the list, and then let's go ahead and let's print the list to the console. And if you run the program and you are able to see mango is printed in a console. So we have removed apple, banana, pineapple, only mango is left in the list. That's why mango is printed in a console. Now let's see how to clear the linked list completely. So we can use clear method, right? We can use a clear method to clear the list, and clear method is present in a list, okay, list interface. So we can go ahead and we can call the clear method. So after cleaning a linked list, we can just check if there are any elements. This should be empty. If you run the program and you'll be able to see the square brackets here, it means that linked list is cleared. Okay, we can use clear method to clear linked list completely. Alright guys, so these are the few methods like remove first, remove last, and remove and clear. So these are the few methods that you can use to remove elements from the linked list. Alright, I'm going to demonstrate how to search an element in a linked list and how to iterate over a linked list with an example. Let me quickly create a linked list. Let's say we have a linked list with list of programming languages like C, C++, Core Java, Java EE, Spring Framework, Hibernate Framework. Now I want to check whether a particular element is present in a list or not. For that I am going to use contains method. For example, let's call a contains method. So contains method returns true if the list contains the specified element. Okay, so let me go ahead and let me check the C element. Okay, and this method returns true. It means we have to use boolean as a type here. Let me print the result to the console. The result. Alright, so let's run the program and you're able to see true is printed because C element is present in a list, linked list. Okay, so this is the usage of contains method. Now let's see how to find index of first occurrence of element in the linked list using index of method. For example, I want to get an index of core Java element. For that, what we can do is we can simply say int and let's say index equals to call programming languages object and then call index of method. So look at here, index of method returns the post occurrences of a specified element in the list. Okay, and let's pass the element, let's say core Java, and let's print index to the console. And if you run the program, we're able to see 2 is printed on the console because core Java element is present at index 2, right? So this is at index 0 and this element is at index 1 and core Java element is at index 2. That's why it is printed 2. Okay, so this is the usage of index of method. Now let's see how to find the index of last occurrences of an element in the linked list using last index of method. Okay, for example, let's say int, let's call it as last index, and call last index of method. So last index of method returns the index of the last occurrences of a specific element in the list. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's pass Spring Framework as an element to the method. And let's go ahead and let's put the sys out here, and let's say last index of the occurrence of the element. So what I will do, I will create one more, I will add one more element like Spring Framework. So look at here, I have added Spring Framework element twice, and if I run the program, I would be able to see the index of last occurrences of an element in the linked list. You should print 5. Okay, so last index of means it will find the index of last occurrence of an element in a linked list. Okay, great. It's pretty simple. Alright guys, we understood how to search an element in a linked list. Now let's see how to iterate over a linked list. So there are many ways to iterate over a linked list. We can use a iterator, or you can use for each method, or you can use for each advanced loop, and we can also use simple for loop. Alright, let's first see how to use a iterator object, programming languages object, and then call iterator. So look at here, iterator method returns iterator over the elements in this list in a proper sequence. Let's go ahead and let's call iterator method, and this iterator method returns a iterator object. Let me just simply copy the return type and paste it here, and give a reference like iterator. And here we can use while loop, while with iterator, and we can just print the element to the console. Okay, you can just rename this method variable, let's say prog, and if you run the program, and you'll be able to see all the elements are printed in a console. Now the second way is we can use for each method. So for each method is introduced in Java 8, and we use lambda expression to provide implementation for functional interfaces. For example, here we have programming languages object, and if I call for each method internally uses consumer interface, and we have to use lambda expression to implement consumer interface. And here we're going to use lambda expression here, so arrow syntax, and put this out here, and just pass element. That's it. And if you run the program, you will be able to see the list is printed in a console. It's pretty simple, right? Great. Now let's go ahead and let's use for each loop. It's pretty simple. String, let's say element e, and then programming languages, and put the sys out here, and just print e. And if you run the program, and you'll be able to see the list is printed to the console. Alright guys, so these are different ways to iterate over a linked list. So in this example, I have demonstrated how to create a linked list, how to add elements to the linked list, and how to search elements in a linked list using contains, index of, last index of, and different ways to iterate over a linked list, like using iterator, for each method, for each advanced loop, and you can use a simple for loop to iterate over a linked list. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in next video.